The city of Le Mans, located in northwestern France, is home to the world's oldest car race, the 24 Hours of Le Mans. However, the story of the crime of sisters Christine and Leah Papin, two maids who brutally killed their employer in 1933, made this city even more infamous. Born into a poor family in Le Mans, the Papin sisters had parents who were constantly at odds. Christine, the second child born in 1905, was said to be stronger and more open than her younger sister Leah. In contrast, Leah, born in 1911, the youngest of the children, was described as shy, introverted, quiet, but obedient. In 1926, Christine and Leah Papin were fortunate enough to be hired as servants for the family of retired lawyer Lancelin. Lancelin lived with his wife Leonie and daughter Genevieve. Christine worked as a cook, while Leah cleaned the house. Most people said that the Papin sisters were good girls, model maids who both went to church on weekends. They were known for being diligent workers with good manners. By 1933, 6 years had passed since the Papin sisters began working for the Lancelin family. At that time, Christine was 27 years old and Leah was 21. On February 2nd of that year, Mrs. Lancelin and her daughter returned around 5:30 p.m. and found the house dark. This is the second time this week the iron malfunctioned, causing the electric fuse to blow while Christine was ironing. Strangely enough, the iron was just returned by the repairman that day and said it was undamaged. When Christine informed Mrs. Lancelin that the iron was broken again, she was very angry and an argument broke out. Employers and domestic workers often had disagreements in the past. Mrs. Lancelin was meticulous, always demanding perfection in her work. She even wore white gloves to check for dust, frequently commenting on Christine's dishes and making Leah redo cleaning tasks if she missed something. While tensions existed, things usually remained manageable. However, this time was different. Suddenly irritable, Christine lunged at Genevieve, clawing out her eyes with her bare hands. Leah, her younger sister, joined the fray, grabbing Mrs. Lancelin. Christine, barking orders, directed Leah to beat their employer. Rushing to the kitchen, Christine retrieved a knife and hammer. The next 30 minutes descended into a brutal frenzy. Christine mercilessly beat both mother and daughter before delivering the final blows. Mr. Lancelin and his son-in-law returned home about an hour later. They found the door locked from the inside, preventing them from entering. The house was completely dark, except for a faint light coming from the upper floor. Everything seemed very suspicious, so they called the police. Ascending the stairs, the police entered the house and made a horrifying discovery. The Papin sisters had inflicted a brutal attack on both mother and daughter. The victims suffered extensive injuries, particularly to the head and face. The police searched the house, fearing the Papin sisters might also be victims. But when they reached the maids' quarters, they found the girls lying on the bed in their robes. Next to the bed, on a chair, lay a bloody hammer. The police questioned them about the events, and the sisters immediately confessed to the crime. The police arrested the two sisters. Christine became despondent upon separation from her younger sister, Leah. She showed little interest in anything and seemed to yearn only for Leah's presence. To determine their mental state, the court appointed 3 doctors to conduct psychological evaluations for the sisters. The evaluations revealed that the sisters had no pathological mental disorders. The doctors determined the girls were completely healthy but noted the deep intimacy between them. This close bond, they concluded, likely motivated them to act together in the crime, making them equally culpable. At the trial, the jury deliberated for only 40 minutes before reaching a verdict. Both Christine and Leah Papin were found guilty. Leah received a sentence of 10 years in prison. Christine was sentenced to death by guillotine, but this was later commuted to life in prison. The brutal attack by the Papin sisters sparked outrage in Le Mans and shocked all of France. The city rarely witnessed such violence. Many grappled with why the sisters, known for their quiet demeanor and seemingly good working relationship with their employer, would commit such a horrific crime. Psychotherapists, philosophers, writers, and others became fascinated by theories about the Papin sisters' motives. The crime sparked debate among intellectuals, with some sympathizing with the girls. They viewed the murders as a reflection of oppressive class divisions, poor working conditions, and prejudice. Others argued that the sisters had a decent job with a good family. They ate the same meals as their employers and received a generous monthly salary. In their view, this provided no reasonable motive for the crime. At the trial, a doctor testified that the Papin sisters exhibited an extremely dependent relationship. He argued that Leah, the younger sister, became highly submissive to Christine's dominant personality. In his view, the crime resulted not from individual actions but from a merged personality they developed together. The sisters appeared to suffer from shared delusional disorder, a condition that tends to occur in isolated couples or small groups. This could explain their actions. Another theory suggests Mrs. Lancelin might have stumbled upon something that triggered the violent response from the sisters, but the exact details remain unknown. Later, Christine struggled to cope with prison life. She suffered frequent mental breakdowns and refused to eat or drink. After being transferred to a mental institution, Christine continued to starve herself and passed away in May 1937. Leah Papin, Christine's younger sister, was released from prison after 8 years of positive rehabilitation. She lived a quiet life until her death in 2001. The Papin sisters' case became a classic in French criminal history, later becoming the subject of research by many intellectuals, psychologists, and psychiatrists. Furthermore, the gloom and horror of the case also became creative material for many plays, films, songs, and works of art. See you again in another video. Goodbye.